Good evening, good evening. It is August 28th. It is a Sunday. It's the last Sunday of August, which means it's time for some Sunday night magic. Good evening, everyone. My name is Javi. Thank you for joining me here in the Variable Play Network. Welcome to Sunday Night Magic, where we talk about all things magic. So, today we are going to be talking about something very special. We do have the brand new set that just came out from Magic the Gathering, and this is for the 30th year anniversary of Magic the Gathering, and it is Dominaria United. All right, let me get that out of the way. Hey, comment immediately, Ron. Hey, man, good evening. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so tonight's actually going to be a little bit like free flowing in that I'm actually not really prepared. In that I've not seen these cards at all. I've made it a point to avoid as much spoiler or advanced information on the set as I can. It's coming out on September 9th, I believe. Yeah, if I'm not so it's scheduled for release in about a week or so, but they put out the full spoiler list. This is official material from Magic the Gathering. So why not go over it, right? So today I had some choices of where to go, and let me just show you. So let me go ahead and just share my screen. So we're here at Scryfall, one of my favorite tools for checking Magic the Gathering cards. So we are looking at Dominaria United, and let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see a little better. But Dominaria United comes with some caveats here. There is the full set, and then when we actually choose the full set, we are looking at a total of 281 cards. If I'm going to be doing an episode reviewing 281 cards, that's way beyond what I think we'll be able to cover in an hour. Hey, hello, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining today's episode. We're going to be reviewing cards. Throw in your thoughts, your feedback, anything that you might want to say about the new cards from Dominaria United. Super much appreciated from Araceli Magat. Thank you. So yay, we got a couple of people on today. Awesome. All right, so going back to what I was explaining a while ago, um, we can do Dominaria United, but we're looking at 281 cards, which is wild. Or we can go to the Dominaria United Commander set, which only has about 20 cards and a couple of reprints and stuff. Um, I'm thinking that we could probably do the Commander pre-constructed decks on a different episode. We have 20 new cards from two pre-constructed decks. And along with this, there is also 8 cards that are considered set booster exclusives that you can only get them there. And then there are 20 legends retold. These are reimagining of previously printed legend cards. So that's a total of 48 cards. That fits in an episode, I think. And the final one that I was thinking of doing for today's episode, which I think is probably going to be the one that might be very interesting, is that I'm just going to go ahead and do an advanced search instead. And using Scryfall's information here, I will just pull up Dominaria United. Let's go ahead and just check out the rares and mythics, which means that we're not just going to be focusing on legendary cards. We're going to be looking at all possible cards with really explosive capabilities. Not to look down on commons and uncommons, but a lot of them don't make the cut. A lot of them are made for draft purposes. This is a standard set. So I think that focusing on the rares and mythics of the set brings us to a total of 85 cards. And some of this we actually get to skip over a little bit. And at least this is really the bulk of the set, that it's not just Commander. This also kind of covers modern, standard, and any other format of Magic that can use it. So let's stick with the 85. Let's see how far we can get into our reviews here. And I think that there are going to be a couple of cards that I'm definitely just going to fly over and just have quick words on. But I don't know. I think that we can have a pretty good episode out of this. So let me just zoom in one more time. I think that's much better. Like, give everyone a really good visual of the card so you can read it properly. And there, we're going over 85 cards. These are all of the rares and mythics that have been released for Dominaria United. Let's get started. I'm going to jump back into the comments from time to time. So if you have anything that you want to share, any comments during this live stream, please do so. If you are watching this after the fact, if you're just watching the recording, check out the comment section. There might be some information or things shared by the people who are on the live stream that will be super helpful to you. So let's begin. This is done in alphabetical order. I didn't want to have it sorted in any other way. We can maybe probably do it by color if that makes any sense. So you know what? Let's try it by color. That might at least help keep things a little bit organized. So let's begin with white. Very first one is called the Anointed Peacekeeper. It is a 3 to cast 3/3 Vigilance. As Anointed Peacekeeper enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand and choose any card name. So you're going to name something specific from your opponent's hand. And spells that they cast with the chosen name cost 2 more. Activated abilities of the chosen name also cost 2 more unless they're mana abilities. So this is like a control card that will probably not really see that much play, I'm going to say, in Commander. But the nice thing here is that spells your opponent's cast. It actually considers everyone. You could technically look at opponent A, choose a card that is common enough that everyone else has, that to make it more expensive. But to be honest, that's a stretch. So this is really, I think, standard specific, more controlled specific. This is definitely a really good addition, maybe into the humans decks that come out of modern, I believe. So something to think about, but outside of my scope. Next one, Archangel of Wrath, 4 to cast 3/4. Angel, interesting. 2 white, which makes it a little difficult to cast, and has kicker, black, and or red, which means that you can probably kick it twice with a black and a red. Flying lifelink, not bad. When Archangel of Wrath enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, it deals 2 damage to any target. Okay, it's a shot, and then when it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked twice, it deals 2 damage to any target. Okay, so basically, it's an angel that has a little bit of board control. Um, it does kind of keep you within black and red with white. I don't know. Not for me. Not as strong as I want it to be. Has potential. Angel decks are typically mono white. When I'm talking commander wise, EDH wise, but for other builds, this is probably going to be really good in standard in a way that you can shoot any target. You can hit face with this. If you just need damage to go through, sure, why not, right? So has potential. Let's move on to the next one. Danitha, first legendary here. Benalia's Hope. So a 5 to cast 4/4 human knight. Not bad. And only 1 white pip, which is really good. Makes it kind of splashable in a way. But if you're going to run this as your commander, of course, you're playing mono white. First strike, vigilance, lifelink. White is always known for having just the whole word salad of abilities, so it's nice to see that here. When Danitha Benalia's Hope enters the battlefield, you may put an aura or equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield attached to Danitha. Not bad. Okay, picks up dead equipment or dead auras, so that's really good. You can actually build this in a way that you can purposefully discard really, really big, high cost artifacts or equipment or auras using an ability from the previous sets known as Connive. Connive lets you discard and draw a card and discard a card. So you can do that, play Danitha, and pretty much get that aura or equipment back into the game pretty much for free. Not bad. Little limited in a way. No one really plays Night Tribal, I think, but standard, I don't think this is really meant for standard. Unless there's some real massively strong aura that we might see later on as we move down. So let's skip over that. Defiler Fate, 5 to cast 5/5, Pyrexian Human. So, okay. One of the enemies of the set. Although, for Pyrexian, they should have put the Pyrexian symbol on it, I think. That's a missed opportunity, like thematically, I think. So 5 to cast, 5 vigilance. As an additional cost to cast white permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Oh, okay, there, yeah. So it makes all um, white pips on white permanent spells become Pyrection. Not bad. Whenever you cast a white permanent spell, create a 1/1 soldier token. So you're pretty much paying life as a spell reduction, and then you get 1/1 soldiers. It's okay. Um, White doesn't necessarily need this kind of help, but White does have a lot of ways of gaining back the life that you would have spent. So it can work. Um, as a 5 drop though, with five vigilance, it doesn't have really any protection to keep itself alive. So the moment it comes down, you better be throwing a lot of spells, because it's not gonna make it to your next round for sure. This is like threat level assessment, a couple of flags. People are gonna take this down immediately. Moving on. Okay, so Guardian of New Benalia, nice. Okay, 2 to cast 2/2 human soldier. New ability, enlist. As this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature until end of turn. That is banding, and they managed to fix banding, naming it enlist. Um, Okay, so technically it can get bigger. Okay, whenever Guardian of New Benalia enlists a creature, scry 2. So if somebody backs it up, you get to look at the top two. Discard a card. New Guardian of New Benalia gains indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. See now, discard a card. Jumping back, this is a human soldier. You have a human knight with Danita. You can discard a really big equipment or aura and play Danita to bring it back in for free. So that's a 2 card synergy right there. Well, this is not an aura, but okay, but there pretty much I was about to jump ahead there, but we're about 5 cards in. Let's see. Next one, Leyline Binding. 6 to cast Flash. Oh my god. That casting cost. No. This spell costs 1 less for each basic land type among lands you control. So it is a possible 1 white to cast. And what does it do? When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls. Okay, so it's pretty much an Oblivion Ring effect, but it you cannot target yourself. It has to be an opponent's permanent. So okay, this is pretty good, but I think that this is going to see more play in definitely you have to have a lot of colors in order for this to happen, because you need basic land types. So you need a lot of colors that even on a tri-color deck, this is going to cost 3. For what it does, there are better options. So this is definitely going to be a big hit in draft, maybe. Otherwise, for other formats, probably not. Our first mythic, Sarah Paragon, 4 to cast 3/4 flying. Okay. 2 white pips again. Really, white just can't get a break. Once during each of your turns, you may play a land from your graveyard. Okay. Cast a permanent spell with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. And okay, so you get a land or you cast a spell. Okay. If you do, it gains when this permanent is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, exile it and you gain 2 life. Okay, this is good. This is recurrence. So this lets you play stuff that were previously broken, or that went to your graveyard. But once it does break, you're losing it permanently. It gets exiled and you gain life. That's not to say that you couldn't possibly flicker those permanents. So it's like white flashback, so to speak, but only for permanent spells. This has potential. I like this. This is like Savine's Reclamation on a creature on a stick. You can technically attack with this, and you can replay very important pieces that you might need to recover to finish the game. Your only problem is that when this permanent is put into a graveyard, exile it. So the life gain doesn't matter, but you kind of fall into that trap of losing those permanently. So, be careful with that. But it seems pretty good. Next one, Sarah Redeemer. 5 to cast 2/4. Huh. Flying. Whenever a creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield, put 2+1/+1 counters on that creature. No. That is standard or draft or pre-release limited. Like, nah, that's not gonna see play anywhere else. I'm sorry. The cost for what you get, and then you have to play a creature, and then it's limited to power 2 or less. No, 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 no. But you know what? It can kind of help token strategies, which kind of keeps it limited. And like, it can't even go to Angel Tribal. Are there angels that come in with power 2 or less? I don't think so. You can have 4 of these, and every time they come in as 4/6s. But for 5 mana, not worth it. Right. Comment check. Anyone else here? All right. So, yep, got a couple of people watching. Hey, Anna Flo, thank you very much for joining tonight's episode. Um, you know, I know you don't know too much about the new sets for Magic, but I hope you find this interesting. Thank you so much. Let's proceed to the next set here. Okay, whoa, we're almost done with white. Awesome. So we're 3 cards away from closing out all of the rares and mythics out of white. That is so. Wait, I just want to roll back really quick. We have 1 mythic in white. That can't be right. Wow. 1 mythic. I guess a lot of the investment maybe went to lands or multicolor. Let's see. But that's surprising that there's only 1 white mythic card in this set. That's really alarming. Okay, 3 to cast. Temporary lockdown. Enchantment. Okay. When temporary lockdown enters the battlefield, exile each non-land permanent with mana 2 value or less. Oh wow. This okay, there is a black green spell that kind of does this, that destroys all permanents 2 or less, and you get a bunch of mana out of that. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but this is a pretty good lockdown spell. You know, just to kind of step outside of standard, what this can do is, in standard wise, each non-land permanent with value 2 or less, this wipes out tokens. All tokens are 0 to cast. So this is a great way of like doing a board wipe in a sense. This will hurt elves. Elves are gonna hate this. Every elf probably costs 3/2/1, so only the threes get left behind. This is brutal for some of those like really low cost decks. Goblins, merfolk are gonna hate this. So this is a really good controlled spell for white. Now, of course, if temporary lockdown disappears, then they all come back, with the exception of tokens. So I like this. This is probably going on my buy list in a way. So I am definitely adding that. This is one of the cards that I would say you should consider getting. It's good removal. Think about it this way: in Commander, it takes out Soul Rings, free mana rocks, early mana dorks. Just everyone who accelerates suddenly gets taken down a lot of notches with this until the temporary lockdown itself is dealt with. So it's a pretty good control piece. Definitely going on my buy list. Next one, Urza assembles the Titans. So it's a saga. Okay. 5 to cast. But it has this new ability called Read Ahead. When this comes in, you can choose what chapter of the saga to start on. And pretty much it just skips previous levels if you're really looking for one specific ability. Or you can run all 3. That takes 3 turns though. So first saga, scry 4. Then you may reveal the top card of your library. If it is a planeswalker card, you put it in your hand. Okay, so planeswalker tutoring, so to speak. Interesting. Number 2 or second saga, you may put a planeswalker card with mana value 6 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. That's really good. If you are looking for a way to make your spells uncounterable, it says that you put a planeswalker card into the battlefield. You are not casting it. So this is a pretty interesting way to circumvent that. And then the last one is you may activate the loyalty abilities of planeswalker you control twice this turn. Okay, that's also pretty good. that all planeswalkers really are allowed to be activated. Their loyalty abilities can only be used once. This lets you do it twice, and then pretty much you lose this saga altogether. So timing is important. I could probably skip the first saga really, but this is definitely for a Super Friends Planeswalker theme build. It has its home maybe in an Atraxa deck, so it has potential. It's not for me to be honest, but it has its use. This is going to be this will definitely be a bomb in a way that you can sneak in planeswalkers for free. So look out for that. Valiant Veteran, last one. So two to cast 2/2. Other soldiers you control get +1/+1. Okay, so Soldier Tribal, we've seen several of them, and even 1/1 soldier tokens coming out of cards here. Pay 5 Exile Veteran, Valiant Veteran from your graveyard. Oh, okay, so it has to be in the grave. Put a +1/+1 counter in each soldier you control. Late game, if you are really in a soldier build, okay, not bad. I mean, it's like a maybe last ditch effort to pump everyone up. On its own, it is a 2 to cast 2 Living Anthem, so has that too. So it's good that soldier is getting like their first lord effect. So this is the +1/+1 effects. Good for them. Still super hung up on the fact that there's only one mythic. And so far for white, only temporary lockdown has gotten my attention. So, comment check. All right. We're good. Let's move to blue. Academy Lore Master. 2 blue. That's kind of rough for a 2/3 human wizard. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player may draw an additional card. If they do, spells they cast cost 2 more to cast. Holy crap. Okay, you're giving your opponent or any player hand advantage, even yourself, but you're taxing yourself as well because it says um, each player. So you're affected by that +2 as well. I wonder if there's a way to break that. But so it's kind of like a howling mine, but with a tax effect. It's interesting. I would probably get a copy of it. I just like extra draw, so that's just my personal like preference. But it's not a must-have for sure. Next, Aether Channeler, a 3 to cast 2/1. Okay, for that cost and that power, this guy better do something good. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. It's modal. Get a 1/1 bird token with flying. Eh. Return another target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Okay, it's a bounce, but it's sorcery speed, so that's kind of crap too. And then last one is draw card. So it's no. This is for standard. A 3 to cast 2/1 with bounce might help combat tricks or something like that, but this ain't helping other formats. Not impressed. Sorry. Skip, skip, skip. Next card, Cosmic Epiphany. 6 to cast. Sorcery. Draw cards equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Mill strategy could help. Um, yeah, late game draw. Yeah. The cost is what's kind of making it sort of unappealing to me. But at the same time, there are a lot of builds that do like sorcery and instant card counts in your graveyard. So this is a good addition. Not for me, but I can see some really big blue splashy decks using this. It will pay off in the end. You know, your counter control. Oh, like I just keep counting cast. I cast counter spells every turn. Okay, eventually this will be a great refill for you. So something to consider. Next one, Defiler of Dreams. 5 to cast 4/3 Flying Sphinx, a Phyrexian Sphinx. Okay. As an additional cost to cast blue permanent spells, you may pay 2 life. Okay, so there, it makes blue permanent spells have the Phyrexian mana. And whenever you cast a blue permanent spell, draw a card. That's really good. This is a great addition to any um, blue, not spell slinger deck, maybe like a clone deck, maybe a merfolk deck. Basically, you're counting on permanent spells. So this might work great with like a blue white deck because you have life link to recover the life lost, but you're basically still getting to draw a card every time that you cast blue permanent spells. Imagine in standard if you had four of this. It's not even legendary. So if you had a bunch of these down, playing of the second one will draw you a card, playing the third one draws you two cards. It can actually snowball out of control. So this one is my second buy list card. I am definitely getting a copy of this for myself. Um, don't be too blinded by the whole, oh, when you cast a spell, draw a card. You have to read it correctly. It says blue permanent spell. So if you're not running blue permanents, it's not really going to help you at all. Now, think of it this way. I already have a way of busting this card. It's so easy. There is a griffin, a blue creature that is a one to cast 1/1 flying. When it comes in the game, you have to return a creature. You can basically keep paying 2 life to return it to your hand and keep casting it, and you draw a card. So it's pretty much a 2 card draw engine for as much as you're willing to pay 2 life. Add in something like Aether Flux Reservoir, and you have an endless, infinite loop, infinite damage, infinite draw altogether. So, like, this is one of those cards that I kind of got. It leaked out online much earlier, so this isn't a surprise for me. So but this is my second must buy. And there, as you can see, the way that I usually build is like I build the break, and that has an immediate infinite combo that I want to do. All right, next one, Haughty Jin. Wow, Haughty. I never thought that they would use that terminology here. It looks like a merfolk. Why is it a Jin? A 3 to cast asterisk 4. Okay, it's flying, as all Jins should be. Haughty Jin's power is equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. Okay, instant and sorceries cost 1 less to cast. Not bad. Okay, so I'm seeing that blue has a theme around instant and sorceries being in your grave. So that's pretty good. Let's see if there are more cards that kind of support the idea, but this is actually right in line with what red and blue, the is it color pairing or Prismari, usually look for spells in your grave. So not bad. All right. This will have its place in constructed. This is not going to be a good addition in like drafts or pre-release, to be honest. The most that you're going to have this is maybe like a 2/4 flying. It's not that big of a threat, to be honest. All right, next, Silver Scrutiny. 2 blue and X. You may cast Silver Scrutiny as though it had flash if X is 3 or less. Okay, so if you're paying 5, oh wait, no, if it 3, yeah, 3 or less. So if you're paying 5 and below, you just get to draw pretty much like 3 or so cards. Okay, yeah, the higher the number, then suddenly it's no longer flash. That's okay. That's okay. Because even for 3, you just draw a card, which makes it kind of a crappy spell. So yeah, no, this is a no for me. It looks like a lot of potential because you're drawing X cards, but um, the whole flash thing is what's not working for me. So nope. So okay, now interesting. We're at blue, and I see the first mythic followed by another mythic. So why does white only have one mythic card while blue has two? That's so odd. Okay, Sphinx of Clear Skies. 5 to cast 5/5. Flying Ward 2. Wow, that's really good. So it has protection and it's flying and it has domain. Whenever Sphinx of Clear Skies deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top X cards of your library, which X is the number of basic lands. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put one pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. So, let's say you're playing mono blue. You hit the opponent. Basically, your top card, he gets to choose and put it into 2 piles. You're gonna draw it either way. into your hand or graveyard, unless you really don't want the card, and then you can put it in your grave. So this one's pretty good. Mythic level. I don't know. I like that it has ward and protection for itself. So, but five to cast 5/5 flying, and then you only really start beginning to reap the benefits the following turn. Um, you know what? Maybe yeah. Maybe I'm looking at this with a little bit of sort of like blinders because I'm seeing a lot of potential for it, but it's actually kind of slow. So maybe not just yet. I'm not totally sold on it. The Facing of Zalfir, for to cast Saga. Okay, it has read ahead. So you can technically skip the first two and move to the third if you want, or go to the second stage. Okay. Another target non-land permanent phases out. It can't phase in for as long as you control the phasing of Zalfir. Okay, so you take cards out of the game, destroy all creatures. For each creature destroyed this way, its controller creates a 2/2 fire action creature token. So you're allowed to kind of phase out maybe two creatures you want to save. Then after the third saga, all other creatures are busted and replaced, and then the phased ones come back in. Um, okay, it's a blue board wipe, but it also does have a replacement effect of 2/2 fire action token creatures. But you know what? Blue board wipe, it's something that blue struggles to deal with. So this is a welcome addition. All right, let's move to the next one. Vesuvian Duplimancy. Okay, for to cast enchantment mythic. Whenever you cast a spell that targets only a single artifact or creature you control, create a token that's a copy of that artifact or creature, except it's non-legendary. Hey, there are spells in blue, I believe, that target things that have buyback, that you can keep the spell, which means that you can continuously replicate any artifact, creature, or permanent. Yeah, this is only artifact or creature. Okay, as long as it's a single target. So when you enchant a creature of your own, if you try to bounce and save a creature that you control, you get copies. So that's pretty good. Um, it is dependent on you having creatures to target and then having spells that target single artifacts or creatures. So there's a couple of hoops to jump in, but the fact that it's just an enchantment that sits there means that it doesn't do much of anything else. I would still consider it because this is there is a blue legendary creature that came out, I think, inside of the um, is it Crimson Vow or Midnight Hunt? But one of those two sets, a mono blue commander that I believe copies permanents, it was introduced in that set, and this is like an enchantment version of it. So it's a good plan B for certain builds. All right, last two cards for blue. And you know, before we proceed, check in comments. All right. Well, any feedback on these cards? Anyone like considering buying any of these cards? Hey, another Merfolk Lord. This is awesome. Vidalian Hexcatcher. 2 to cast 1/1 flash. Okay, so it's a Lord that has flash. That's really good. This is definitely going to be a must buy for the fish decks in Legacy, and I believe in Modern as well. Other merfolks you control get +1/+1. Sacrifice a merfolk, counter target non-creature spell. It makes them all into curse catchers. That is impressive. This is going to shoot up in value. This is going to be a key piece to all merfolk tribal builds, especially in like the whole legacy that you can have like 4 copies of it. I'm definitely getting that for the sole purpose of maybe filtering it through fish players. So much potential for that. Awesome. Last card, Vodalian Mind Singer. Okay, I almost read Slinger. Mind Singer. Okay, it's a 3 to cast 2/2 Merfolk Wizard with kicker red or green. Interesting. Enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters each time it was kicked. So maximum 6/6 basically. Okay. When Vodalian Mind Singer enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature with power less than Mind Singer's power for as long as you control it. Okay. It's a modified Sower of Temptation in that you gain control of a creature as long as it stays there. Okay. Um, I don't know how strong that's going to be, to be honest. There's a lot to take into consideration here in terms of its cost. You're going to be paying maybe a total of 7 mana to just get like something less than 6 power. So probably a no for me, to be honest. And that's it for blue. So Vodalian Hexcatcher is a definite yes. The facing of Zalfir and Vesuvian Duplamancy, maybe. But then this Defiler of Dreams is a must buy for me, at least. Right, we move on to black. Just comment check. All right, yes, we're halfway through, I think. Well, we're halfway through the episode, but we're only in the third color. All right, Braids Arisen Nightmare, 3 to cast 3/3. So Braids, actually, the original one is banned in Commander, so it's nice to see Braids again. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that oh wait, see may so it's optional. Okay, each player that doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. Oh, that's really good. The draw a card part is really good. So you can give up a permanent, and if they don't want to do the same, oh, I already see something immediately that works for this. So there is an enchantment, I believe it's the contract for Liliana, that the very last mode of it is you lose the game. This gives you the opportunity to sacrifice an enchantment, and you can give that up before it actually hurts you and pretty much kills you. So Black does have a lot of enchantments that kind of really hurt them in the end, like Necromancy. You can pay a lot of life to draw some cards, but then eventually you're every time you exile or put something into your grave, they're gone forever. With this, you can pretty much give up the enchantment when you don't need it, and other players have to adjust and or lose life, and you get to draw. That's awesome. So that's pretty good. I'm getting a copy of that. I see a lot of potential for that because you can even literally sacrifice a treasure token and force everyone to give up their artifacts. And actually, even so, just the enchantment part, my God, Black doesn't have really much hate for enchantments. Now it does. So this has a lot of potential. So I like it. I'm getting one. You should too. Defiler of Flesh. Okay, so it's another Defiler card. 4 to cast 4/4 Menace. It's a horror. Okay, so pretty much black permanent spells. Okay, so it's like a mini crick in a way. So this is a really good addition into the deck of a if you're playing crick as your commander. It's a good complement. Whenever you cast a black permanent spell, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains menace until end of turn. Oh my god, that's crap. That's so bad. It's not even a +1/+1 counter. It's until end of turn. It's temporary. That is garbage. Uh, it should have just been counters. Oh my god. What would have had so much potential here just gets a thumbs down. I would still encourage people who have the Crick deck, mono black. This is a good plan B if people keep denying your commander. But it just, oh my god. The blue one was so good with draw. White one gives you soldier tokens. This is nothing. This is garbage. It's hot garbage. Right. Next, drag to the bottom. Okay, for the cast domain, each creature gets -X/-X, where X is 1 plus the number of basic land types. Okay, basic land type. So I think there's Mutilate, which uses number of swamps, which is much better for you because at 2 black and 2 colorless, you can probably get up to, I don't know, if you have 5 basic land types, you can get up to -6/-6. But I don't know. It's not a really good creature board wipe. There's a lot better versions, but this is definitely gonna make standard maybe much better. Or like yeah, in like it's a good board wipe in standard and probably in draft 2 or pre-release. So enjoy that, but it's not gonna be touching commander, I think. Plus you need basic lands. Ugh. Evolved Sleeper, one to cast 1/1. Okay, has the triple abilities here. This is like the um yeah, there's a card that they did with this before that was like red and white that became different versions of the same card. So interesting to see it like this. So paying 1 black, Evolved Sleeper becomes a human cleric, becomes a 2/2. Okay, and then pay 2. If it's a cleric, put death touch on it, becomes a 3/3. And then if it is a Phyrexian, so you pay 3, put a +1/+1 counter on it, draw a card, and lose a life. Okay. Oh, but pretty much you don't. It is a Phyrexian always. So then eventually this becomes a draw engine. Not bad. So it starts off as a 1/1, a 2/2, 3/3 death touch. Okay, that's an interesting progression. But the last part of it is that you can keep putting +1/+1 counters on it and draw a card, lose a life. So yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's a long term plan for a draw engine, but I would still maybe consider it in decks that are hungry for draw. It helps. And the fact that it's just an activated ability means that you can even do this at instant speed. There's nothing that says that it should be done as a sorcery. So you can get a continuously evolving human that costs life and draws a card as long as you have the mana to feed into it. Right, then we move on to Liliana of the Veil. So Liliana of the Veil is a reprint. I don't need to go into this, and I can just tell you that the artwork is not my favorite version of Liliana, to be honest. And you see the veil in the artwork on the back there, which is interesting. But this is like everyone loves this card in particular, but I am not really a big fan of it, mainly because for 3 to cast, you can make someone sacrifice a creature. Okay, it's target player. It doesn't really affect multiple players except for like there the +1 each player discards a card. Then even the final ability separate all permanents target player controls. So this isn't meant for multiplayer. It's not really good in Commander, to be honest. So this is really for the one-on-one people. You guys enjoy this. Enjoy your reprint. Next, Shadowrite Priest, 2 to cast 2/2. Human Cleric. Other clerics get +1/+1. A Cleric Lord, not bad. And pay 5, sacrifice another cleric, search your library for a black creature card, put it on the battlefield. That's really good. That's really good. Cleric tribal that can have some big bombs in it that just get a black creature and put it into the battlefield. You know how big and like how tough it is to cast some black creatures? This is really good. This takes that whole Shadowborn Apostle build and kind of simplifies the process, so to speak. So I don't have a cleric build, but it's always I've purchased so many cleric cards out of like I have this weird frustration of trying to build one. So I'm definitely getting this just out of like sheer curiosity of what I can do with it. She Old Dread the Apocalypse, Black Mythic. So this is the second one because the Planeswalker here was a Mythic. But this one I've already seen in advance, and I will tell you this is a must purchase. A forward to cast 4/5 Death Touch is not bad at all. When you draw a card, you gain 2 life. So imagine like even for previous abilities here, like for this Evolve Sleeper thing, that you draw a card and lose a life. When you draw a card, you gain 2 life. So it kind of negates it, which is really good. Black needs a way to gain life. That means that every draw that you have to start your turn is actually gaining you back life. This is so good. Black needs life gain because it burns so much life. When an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. So this is having life gain and then having Underworld Dreams built into a 4/5 Death Touch. So worth it. So worth it. Must buy for me. I am definitely getting that. Next, Stronghold Arena Enchantment. So it's a black spell, but it has green and white as a kicker. When it enters the battlefield, gain 3 life for each time it was kicked. Not interested. When one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may reveal the top card of your library, put it in your hand. If you do, alright, so it's a black draw engine, but you have to pay life. But of course, if it's a land, you pay nothing. So that's pretty good. It essentially makes your unblocked creatures into draw engines. I like it. The fact that it has green and white kind of limits it in the realm of commander, in that it will not go into any other deck that doesn't have green or white. So it runs in a very limited space for us. But in standard or in any other format that doesn't have the whole color identity thing, go for it. This is a good card. Unblocked creatures can become draw engines for you. Go for it. All right, we are 3 cards left out of black. The Cruelty of Gix. 5 to cast, has read ahead. Target opponent reveals their hand. You can choose a creature, planeswalker, make them discard it. 5 to cast, discarder. Not good. Second Saga. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, and shuffle, lose 3 life. That's okay. There are better tutors. So, uh, okay. Last one. Put a creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. From a graveyard. Oh, okay. So it can even target your opponent. So basically, it's a tutor and an animate for 5, but you have to wait like 2 turns. Um, okay. If you're playing maybe outside of black, you can use the search to go find a protection spell, and then on the next, when you animate a creature, at least you're ready to protect it. Maybe. I find the casting cost and the speed of it to be kind of crappy, because you can skip to the third step here, and for 5 mana to reanimate, even the card reanimate itself, I believe, only costs. Yeah, animate dead. And they're all so much cheaper than this. So, uh, no, this is again standard or draft pre-release stuff. It's not gonna get out of that format. All right, 2 more cards in black. The Raven Man. This guy has been part of the whole story of Liliana in Magic the Gathering lore. I really was hoping for this guy to be like a standout bomb card, but I've seen this in advance and I can tell you it is a dumpster fire. I don't like it. So it's a 2 to cast 2/1 human wizard. How threatening. What a mythical bad guy. A 2 to cast 2/1. It is so crappy and weak. At the beginning of each end step, if a player discarded a card this turn, create a 1/1 blackbird token with flying that this creature can't block. So you need your opponents to discard to get a 1/1 bird token that can't even block. So, and then its activated ability, each opponent discards a card. Activate only as a sorcery. It's so bad. Why did they have to waste such a like infamous, like mysterious character in Magic lore and make this piece of crap of a card? Wasted potential. Hey, Mark, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. We are going through all of the rares and mythics of Dominaria United. If any cards catch your attention, let me know, man. So we are on the Raven Man, and what a waste of a card! It's so bad. I really no, it's worthless. And you see, if an opponent discarded a card, they're like, the triggers that never mind. Skip. Save on time. Go to the next one. Last black card. Tyrannical Pit Lord. 6 to cast, 6/6 flying trample. Okay, so this is kind of like Lord of the Pit. As Tyrannical Pit Lord enters the battlefield, choose another creature you control. Okay. The chosen creature gets +3/+3 and has flying. When Pit Lord leaves the battlefield, sacrifice a chosen creature. Okay, so it's a demon that pumps another creature and kind of gives it wings. Okay, it's kind of a bomb, maybe in draft or something. A 6/6 flying trample is like that can end games for you, and the fact that it even gives a creature +3/+3 means that you could probably get a really good attacker the turn prior, because this has summoning sickness for sure. But the problem is that if somebody deals with it, it means if it leaves the battlefield, it doesn't even have to die. If they bounce it, if they flicker it, the creature that it helped out dies. It gets sacrificed. So there's a big risk here, and I don't think it's worth it for 6. So that's a skip for me. Enjoy it in your pre release. Now we go to red. Chaotic transformation. So it started immediately at letter C. Okay. So that means there's going to be a limited pool, I think. Yeah, because we're already at R after this. Wow, red looks like it's going to be a very small pool of cards. Chaotic Transformation, 6 to cast. Ouch. Exile up to one target artifact, up to one target creature, up to one target enchantment, up to one target planeswalker, up to one target land. Each permanent exile this way, its controller reveals cards on the top of their library until they reveal a card that shares a type with it. So this is a mass chaos warp, so to speak, but it is looking for the same type. So that's pretty good in a way that if somebody has a really big creature or a really important land, it might get replaced with a basic or something. So this is okay. And it's exile. This is a removal spell, but its cost is what's making it really, really not work for me. Thankfully, red and blue kind of combine together and kind of have some cost reduction. It might be able to work there, but like you see, right beside this card is what I would have turned to for help, but it doesn't. Defiler of Instinct is a 4 to cast 4/4 first strike, which is kind of crap. But then you can pay 2 life for red pips. Chaotic Transformation only has 1 red, so that's not helpful at all. So I think that they had some foresight here to kind of prevent these two cards from synergizing. Whenever you cast a red permanent spell, Defiler of Instinct deals 1 damage to any target. You know what? That's actually really good in like a goblin build. That every time that you play a goblin, you can pretty much start ticking away at your opponent. So I think that having 4 copies of this in like a sort of red rush deck would be really good, and you can use your life to keep bringing things out and like being a constant threat to your opponent. Commander wise, red permanent spells, it's okay, but it's it's not going to be that big with 1 damage to any target. But in 20 life in standard, or even let's say like a pre-release or a draft, this is going to be really good. So these 2 cards are okay. All right, let's move to a red mythic. There's a spoil already in advance. 4 to cast 4 loyalty. Interesting that she has 4 loyalty abilities. So they've finally brought back Jaya again, but like it appears for the last time. Spoilers. +1, make a red monk token with prowess. Okay, so prowess gives creatures +1/+1 every time you cast a spell until end of turn. -1, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Choose one of them. You may play that card this turn. Okay. So that's the whole impulsive draw of red. -2, choose target creature an opponent controls. Whenever you attack this turn, Jaya Negotiator deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures to that creature. So that's her protection. How does she protect herself from dying? She makes your attackers shoot an opponent's creature. Uh, so, okay, whenever you attack this turn, yeah, so pretty much you can do it prior to attacking, and you can take out a blocker and also a potential attacker to kill her. So that's okay. At least she has protection. There's some walkers that have no protection at all, which makes them like just fish in a barrel. Like they're gonna die immediately. And last one here, -8. That's hard. She starts with 4 loyalty. Getting her to 8 is tricky. So you're talking 5 turns really before, like the minimum before you can do this. you get an emblem with whenever you cast a red instant or sorcery spell, copy it twice. So pretty much you get triplicates of your instants and sorceries. It's okay. I mean, it's a lot of hoops again. 5 turns consistently not dying to get to that emblem. Making 1/1s, exiling. I'm not a big fan, but I kind of think that a lot of people are gonna get into that. Let's see what else. What else? Comment check. Okay, we are now at Keldon Flame Sage. 3 to cast 2/3 enlist. So enlist means the banding. When it attacks, you can tap another creature without summoning sickness to add on its power. So okay. When Keldon Flame attacks, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is Keldon Flame's power. Flame Sage power. Okay, you may exile an instant or sorcery card with mana value X or less from among them. Put the rest in the bottom. You may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. All right, not bad. So you can technically get a free spell out of this. So it can come out of nowhere and surprise people. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of some setup to that, but look at the top X cards. It's not bad at all because, like, on her own, you get to look at your top two, add in a little bit of more power to her. Even let's say add three, you're looking at your top five. And if you are a spell slinger deck, you probably get the card that you need. So that's pretty good. Rada's Firebrand. Nice to see Rada. Okay, that means that she's probably going to be another legendary here, and she's usually red green. So nice to see that. 2 to cast 3/1, Human Warrior. When Rada's Firebrand attacks, target creature defending player controls with power less than the Firebrand can't block. Okay. Domain, pays 6. Rada Firebrand gets +2/+2. This ability costs 1 less for each basic, and it only activate only once each turn. Okay. So maximum is 1 red to make her into a 5/3. Uh, nah, to be honest, it's not that good. It can take out a blocker in a way, but it's not that good. So that's a no for me. Ragefire Hellkite. 6 to cast 5/3 flying. Wow, that's some bum stats. Okay. Whenever Ragefire attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, Ragefire gains double strike. Oh, so it can hit for 10. But having 3 toughness really sucks for a dragon. How can something this massive just fall down to like a quick little lightning bolt? Like, just looking at that art, it looks like one intimidating dragon. They should have at least made it a 5/4 maybe. That's okay. Hey, a goblin warrior that's a lord, and it doesn't really. Wow, this is one serious looking goblin, to be honest. Doesn't look like your usual weird dumpy green goblin, so that's interesting. Rundvelt Horde Master, 2 to cast 1/1. Other goblins get +1/+1. So it's a new goblin lord. Yay! When Rundvelt Horde Master or another goblin you control dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin creature card, you may cast that until the end of your next turn. Hey, not bad. So it's one of the problems that goblins and red decks usually have is running out of cards, that they run out of gas. This is pretty good. It makes every dying goblin bring out a potential replacement. So that's a nice card. That's definitely also going to be a must have for goblin players. I don't know if Goblin Rush is still a thing, but mono red goblin could be making a comeback in this set. Who knows? All right. 4 more red cards. We have a mythic Shivan Devastator, red and X. Okay, Flying Haste comes into play with X+1/+1 counters. That's amazing because the haste part makes it so worth it. You can pay 3. It's a 2/2 Flying Haste. That's really good. That having 4 copies of it in your deck for like standard, like this is a bomb. I mean, it can come down early or it can come down late when you need it. Um, Not really that big in terms of commander. Honestly, I don't. It can maybe be used to surprise and take out a player, but um, this is really more for limited and maybe standard, for in my opinion. So I'm sure someone's going to try to run it, and it doesn't have protection. It's just flying haste. A swords can take this thing out. So uh, it's kind of rough for a mythic, but I can see how even in Magic Arena, this is going to kill a lot of people. Squee. Okay, nice to see Squee again. It's third printing of him, different version. Squee, Dubious Monarch, 3 to cast 2/2, and he's Haste, a Goblin Noble. When Squee attacks, create a 1/1 Goblin token that's tapped and attacking. Okay. And you may cast Squee, Dubious Monarch from your graveyard by paying 4 and exiling 4 other cards in your graveyard rather than paying its mana cost. Uh, I'm not too sure how that whole graveyard thing helps, but well, it produces goblin tokens, but it's not the best producer really. Like there are better versions. Like you might as well go with trying to remember that Krenko. Krenko makes really good amounts of goblins, so I would probably just go with Krenko instead of this. Temporal Firestorm, 5 to cast. Okay, it has kicker, so you can probably kick it twice. Choose up to X target creatures or planeswalkers, where X is the number of times the spell was kicked. Okay. Huh. Choose up to X creatures and or planeswalkers you control. So if you don't kick it, you don't get to choose any of them. All right, and then they won't phase out. Okay. Temporal Firestorm deals 5 damage to each creature in each planeswalker. So it's a 5 to cast 5 damage. It's pretty much a red board wipe. Uh, with the potential of saving a planeswalker and or creature. It's okay. Uh, not that great, but and the fact that it's sorcery speed too. I mean, when you kick it, you're paying 7, 9. It's like, is that really worth it? I don't think so. So, that's a hard pass for me. Last one for red, for the cast Enchantment Saga. You can read ahead, which means you can skip the chapters here in the saga. First saga is the Elder Dragon War deals 2 damage to each creature and each opponent. Okay, so it's just like a pyroclasm and also into the face. I think it's called Violent Eruption, I think. I'm not sure. Second, discard any number of cards, draw that many. Okay, hand filtering, not bad. And then last one, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. Ah, so you have a board wipe, you have like a wheel effect, and create a dragon. The theme of these don't make sense to me. I get dealing damage to creatures. Discarding, the only thing that I can see the reason behind this is because there are effects that care about instants and sorceries, but they were actually in blue, so I don't know why this is in a red card. And then the last one, create a red dragon token. It's all over the place. I don't feel that the whole saga is consistent. I don't see how that relates to the Elder Dragon War. So this is definitely going to be a really great piece in standard. The fact that it is a little board wipe and it hits players' faces, and that the fact that you can even skip for 4, you can just make a 4/4 dragon, not bad. So it will have its place in other formats, just not in Commander. So that's it for red. All right, we're getting ahead already. So yeah, we got a lot to review over. Now we're going at green. But I'm gonna try to get a little faster. Briar Hydra, 6 to cast 6/6 trample. Okay, when it deals combat damage to a player, it gets +X/+X, which is the number of basic lands. Okay, on the minimum, it's gonna get +1/+1. So not bad. 1 green, splashable. Defiler of Vigor, 5 to cast 6/6 trample. Why is the green one the only one that exceeds its casting cost? I don't get it. As an additional, okay, it gives green the ability to have Phyrexian mana. Whenever you cast a green spell, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. This is probably the best version of all of the Defilers. Blue and green take the cake with the Defilers here. This is amazing. That just getting +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, this will save every tiny creature you have from death, from board wipes. This makes elves chain into each other, paying life and just getting bigger and bigger. So this is another one that I would definitely buy, even though I don't necessarily play green. Um, Herd Migration, 7 to cast. Okay. It makes a 3/3 beast token for each basic land type, so you can probably get 5 maximum, maybe 6 if you count wastes. Discard the Herd Migration, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand. Okay, so that's pretty good. It's kind of has like basic land cycling, and then you gain 3 life. That's pretty good. That's gonna be a helpful piece in pre-release, in draft, in standard. Just like go get a land and a life. 3 life is no joke when you're talking 20 life. So this will find its place in those decks. Leaf Crown Visionary, another elf lord. Oh my god, whenever you cast an elf, you may pay green if you do draw a card. See how Defiler of Vigor now makes green elves just you pay life, and then the mana that you were supposed to spend on it, you can use it to draw cards. Oh my god, green is so busted. Why do they keep making green so strong? Definite must buy. Like I'm an elf player, a frustrated elf player, so I would love to get this and add it into an elf deck for sure. Llanowar Green Widow, 3 to cast, 4/3, reach trample. Not bad for a spider. Domain, okay. Return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And then pretty much it has the whole if it dies, it gets exiled. Okay, this spell costs 1 less for each basic land. Okay, so it'll become at least 2 to cast maximum for it to come back into the game. It's a good blocker. Um, this for sure will see some play in standard. I think that this is 3 to cast 4/3 is really good. Its stats make it worth it. You're not really gonna be blocking with this. I think it's gonna be a more aggressive creature. Llanowar Lone Speaker, 2 to cast 1/3, not bad. Add 1 mana of any color. It's an elf druid. Target land becomes a 3/3 elemental with haste. Activate the sorcery. So you're looking at a 2 to cast 1/3 that makes any color. Not bad. It's not the best mana dork there, but I like it. Next one, Curian Beast Caller, 2 to cast 2/2 Dryad Warrior. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on the Beast Caller. Okay. When the Beast Caller dies, distribute the +1/+1 counter among creatures you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters. Yeah, so, alright. It starts off building counters, but once it dies, it distributes it amongst any number of target creatures you control. And then the target is X is the number of +1/+1 counters. Yeah, okay. That's pretty good too. First green mythic, Silverback Elder, 5 to cast with 3 green pips. That's rough. That is mono green all over it. When you cast a creature spell, choose one. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Wow. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land among them onto the battlefield tap. Land. It doesn't even care what kind. Okay, put the rest on your bottom. So, bottom library, random order. But that's pretty good. It just gets any land. But it tap though. Okay, that's a little bit of but it does add on land for you, and you gain 4 life. It has its uses for sure. 5 to cast 5/7, not bad, but the benefit comes afterwards. So I can see how this is probably going to help like landfall decks maybe as like a late game option. So there's that. Last ones for the green. Mythic Saga, not bad. The World Spell. 7 to cast. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal a non saga permanent card from among them, put them in your hand. Alright, so it happens twice that you look at your top 7 cards and then put up to 2 non saga permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So that's not even casting. Excellent. You can technically skip 1 and 2 and just go to 3. For 7 to cast, you can just put 2 permanents from your hand into the battlefield. And that's not being cast, so they're uncounterable. That has combo potential all over it. I like that. Next one, Threats Undetected. 3 to cast sorcery. Why did it have to be sorcery? Search your library for up to 4 creature cards with different powers and reveal them. An opponent chooses those 2 of those cards, shuffle them, and then the rest into your hand. Okay. So gifts ungiven, realms untraveled, I think, realms undiscovered, and then now threats undetected. Yeah, gifts ungiven, realms undiscovered, threats undetected. Okay, so they're continuing that theme, but why is it still in green? I mean, realms and threats were green while gifts is blue, so I should have gone with a different color. And last one is Urborg Lurgoyf. To the cast, okay, with the asterisk. So power and toughness equal to cards in your graveyard, and it's toughness +1. Okay. And then it has kicker of 2 to mill yourself maximum 6 cards. Yeah, I've seen this previously, so I'm kind of like just glazing over it in a dismissive way because I don't like it. I really don't like it because it's the typical Lurgoyf, but it's not for the cast. It's now 2 to cast. Okay, but it's just you need the graveyard that you have is gonna take a while before this thing becomes a threat. To be honest, so it only counts creature cards. It's not gonna replace Tarmogoyf for sure. So Tarmogoyf uses card types, so even as early as a fetch land already helps contribute to its power, while this one gets nothing. All right, so we are about an hour 13 in. So, this is going to be a little longer than I thought, but we are now in gold, which is pretty much like, okay, we're going to do gold, land, and artifacts, maybe, that as long as it's rare or mythic. So let's see. Let's begin. Sten, Paranoid Partisan. This was already featured earlier, like pre spoilers, and some people actually figured out a way already to break this and turn it infinite. But just to give you an idea, 2 to cast, 2 human wizard. When it comes into the battlefield, choose a card type other than creature or land, and spells of that chosen type cost 1 less. So if you choose like artifact, basically you can make artifacts cost 1 less, or instants or sorceries. And then after that, you can pretty much use an ability to pay 3 and exile's turn, and then return it at the end, beginning of the end step, which means that he can actually use that to evade board wipes. But the most important part here is that he's a living discount. He's in your command zone if he is your commander. You can actually do a turn 1 win with this guy by getting him into the battlefield and having Sensei's Divining Top and any effect that lets you play the top of your library. I think Mystic Forge is one of the examples that usually comes up. And you pretty much just get to draw your entire library and build a storm count to hell and just kill all of your opponents. So infinite combo potential direct in the command zone. I'll probably get a copy for myself. All right, next one is Urtai. Nice to see him back. 4 to cast, Pyrection Human Wizard, 3/2 flash. When he enters the battlefield, counter target spell, activated ability or triggered ability. Its controller draws a card. Okay, so he's pretty good. He's a living counter and stifle. Okay, destroy another target creature or planeswalker. Its controller draws a card. So there are a lot of effects already that have prevented players from getting additional cards. So it's 4 to cast though. It's kind of tricky. What makes him really good though is that since he's a creature spell, it's hard to counter him when he is used to counter a different spell. And in fact, when there are decks that do the self milling strategy and they want to not be able to draw a card, you can force them to draw a card there. Its controller draws a card. It doesn't say may. So this guy is actually a potential answer to the whole Thassa's Oracle with a demonic consultation. That with that stuff on the stack, when a demonic consultation triggers, they get rid of their entire library. And oh, Thassa's Oracle ability on the stack, like, oh, in response, play Urtai, kill the Oracle, and force them to draw a card. They die before the effect happens. So This guy has a lot of counter to combo potential. I like him. I will probably get a copy for that purpose only. Rivas of the Claw. 3 to cast 3/3 Viashino Warlock. Add 2 mana of any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast dragon creature spells. So a black red dragon support, but he's not a dragon. He's a Viashino Warlock. Having menace is useful. How? I don't see where it works, but once during each of your turns, you may cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard. Okay, so recurrence, not bad. Whenever you cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard, it gains when this creature dies, exile it. Ugh. Why do they keep adding that wording? But if you just flicker, but yeah, black and red don't really have flicker effects. Um, I don't really play dragon, so I don't. He can probably fit in a dragon tribal deck as long as it has black and red. So never know. Maria, Scholar of Antiquity. 3 to cast 3/3. Elf Artificer. Tap an untapped non token artifact you control, add green. It makes every artifact you control into a Mox Emerald, so to speak. Tap to untap non token artifacts you control, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. Alright, this is actually a really good card. This is essentially the new Urza, but not in blue. So it makes, but you see, red and green doesn't really play a lot of artifacts. That's weird. But you can make your equipments into mana rocks, and then you can even exile, so it makes up for hand draw. I want to experiment with this. A red green artifact based deck. What does that look like? The fact that you get to exile at least, that's the draw engine that you need. So that's pretty good. I'll probably get one of those. So far, okay, I'm already 3 gold cards in that I'm gonna buy. A Johnny Sleeper Agent for the cast with Fire Action mana. So just so everyone knows that a Johnny has been completed, which means that he is now on the side of Fire Action. All right. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card or planeswalker card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it in the bottom of your library. Okay. So a green white draw engine. Okay. -3. Distribute 3+1/+1 counters among 3 target creatures. They gain vigilance until end of turn. So your creatures basically can attack because and become blockers since they have vigilance. Okay. -6. You get an emblem with whenever you cast a creature planeswalker spell, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. Poison counters. Jesus Christ, they're bringing back infect. Ha 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 ha. That's a really tough emblem to get to, though. It takes about 3 turns to get this, 2 turns to get to 6, and then one more to do that. Whenever you cast a creature planeswalker, so yeah, you can kind of just build target opponent. Yeah, that has potential, but it's in green white. Does green white really have a poison build? I don't know. Um, Not for me. It's a surprise win condition. But the moment this comes down and people see you get that emblem, you ain't gonna survive. You're going down immediately. All right, so let's go into the next page of cards. So we are now at 61 to 85. So we're almost done there. Quick comment check. We're about an hour 20. Oh my god. Let's see if we can power through this stuff. King Darian. Okay, that is wow XLV. So that wow. I okay. L is 50, right? So is that the 158th? Am I reading that correctly? No, I'm not. Well, you know what? I am honestly not sure anymore how that. I just know that V11 that would be 8. Okay, so LVXLV. So yeah, that's a really long number there. I'm not good with my Roman numerals anymore. I'm gonna say that's gonna like is it? Yeah, I think that's 158 if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, and I am open to being corrected. I'm just rushing through the card. 3 to cast 2/3 human soldier. Other creatures you control doesn't care about creature types, so it's a living anthem. Not bad. Pay 5, put a +1/+1 counter on King Darian, and create a 1/1 white soldier token. Great! And you can sacrifice him. Creature tokens you control gain hexproof and indestructible at the end of turn. Self sacrifice. Not bad for hexproof and indestructible. Okay, so this is a nice surprise. This helps definitely green white token builds by being a living anthem, and then a token producer, and then token protection. Because creature tokens gain hexproof and indestructible, so board wipes are not going to do anything unless it's like mass bouncing, like a cyclonic rift. So that's good. Token tribal. Green white is also colors that definitely support a lot of tokens, so that's a great addition there. Uh, Rata Drabic of Urborg, 4 to cast 3/3 zombie wizard. Vigilance Ward 2, not bad. Other zombies you control have vigilance. That's something I didn't know zombies ever needed. They do not need vigilance. Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, oh, okay, so it cares about legendary. Okay, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's non legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie in addition to its other types. Legendary recursion that breaks the legendary rule. Okay, I'm not quite sure how that could be, how you can break that right now, but I think that there are potentials that it's a way of recurring, and then you get them in a different color. I like that. This has a little bit of a play around. Not sure what it looks like yet, but I'd be interested to try it. The name though, Rata Drabic, is they could have thought of something so much more simpler. Joyra, Aegis Innovator, to the cast. Cheapest Joyra yet. Yeah, to the cast, 2/3 Human Artificer. Put 2 Ingenuity counters on Joyra. Then you may put an artifact card with mana X or less from your hand onto the battlefield. It free casts stuff? Oh, that's dangerous. That's really good. I am getting this. This is amazing protection because you just put an artifact card into play. It's not being cast. That's really, really good. This can sneak in on one tap. It gets 2 ingenuity counters, which means that it can bring Isocron Scepter in immediately, and it's not casting it. So that's really good. This is a potential, again, turn 1, turn 2 combo for Isocron Scepter Dramatic Reversal. Excellent. Another Joyra that I super appreciate. Getting this in foil, extended, whatever it comes in. Nemata, Prime Evil Warden, 4 to cast 3/4, a tree folk. Okay. It is reach. If a creature the opponent control would die, exile it instead. When you do, create a 1/1 green sapperling token. Okay, that's really good. When sacrifice a sapperling, and then it gives this thing +2/+2. Sacrifice 2 sapperlings, draw a card. I haven't really seen a lot of sapperlings from the cards that we reviewed earlier, so um, I don't know how strong this is going to be in standard or other formats. Like Joyra here is also another one that I'm not really sure how it fits in with standard, but in EDH I know what it's doing for sure. King Darian here, definitely we saw a lot of like soldier token stuff earlier, so this is great for standard. Astor, Bearer of Blades, 4 to cast 4/4. When Astor enters the battlefield, look at the top 7 cards in your library. You may reveal an equipment or vehicle card from among them, put them in your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your library random order. Equipment you control have -1. Oh no, have equip 1. Oh my god. And then vehicles you control have crew 1. That's busted. This is one of the best equipment commanders there. Oh, wow, wow. It makes equip 1. Okay, there are other commanders or other creatures that do help make equip just cost 0. But this guy is 4 to cast 4/4 and then has a way of digging up cards. and gets it into your hand. Wow. Okay, equipment in red and white and vehicle support also within red and white is getting really good. So, um, this one's definitely something to be considered if you are building that way. There's a lot of really good vehicles that came out from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and even some red vehicles that came out of the most recent set, New Capenna. So, could probably work together with this guy. Ivy, Gleeful Spell Thief, 2 to cast 2/1 flying, Fairy Rogue. Okay, not bad. Okay, Rogue, mostly blue and black, so it's green Rogue is something I wasn't expecting to see. Whenever a player casts a spell that targets only a single creature other than Ivy, you may copy that spell. The copy targets Ivy. Oh no. It seems like it's good, but let's say I cast a lightning bolt on a creature, then so Ivy also gets shot by the lightning bolt. So uh, a single removal spell can pretty much just kill this thing. It's not worth it. That could have been great. On your own, like when you put this down and you cast, let's say, giant growth on a creature, Ivy also gets giant growth. Yeah, but really, um, I don't know. There's some potential to it. There's a way to kind of work around it, but it gets really painful really fast. It's not worth it. Zur Eternal Schemer, Esper or Obscura, white, blue, black. Okay, 1/4 flying. Enchantment creatures you control have hexproof life and death touch lifelink. Oh my god, that's really good. That makes that really helps in terms of like making your deck sustainable, or at least like making opponents not want to attack you if you just have a couple of enchantment creatures. Wow. Target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its type, base power equal to its mana value. Really good, really good. There was like a version that they made of this before that made artifacts into creatures, so it's nice that this is like the enchantment version, but I really like that it made enchantment creatures have so much abilities here. Okay, Solkanar the Tainted. Okay, blue, black, red. So this is the whole Grixis, or what I forgot what the new name for it now is. Maestro, legendary elemental demon. 5 to cast 5/5 at the beginning of your end step. Choose one that hasn't been chosen. Draw a card. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Solkanar deals 3 damage up to 1 target creature planeswalk. Okay. Draw, hurt opponents, deal 3 damage to up to 1 other target creature planeswalker. Okay. Exile Solkanar, then return it to the battlefield under an opponent's control. Why would you want to give an opponent control of this? Uh, huh. That's a really weird workaround. I don't know. Soul of Windgrace. Okay, it's the Jund Riveteer 4 to cast 5/4. Whenever Soul of Windgrace enters the battlefield or attacks, you may put a land card from your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Okay, so kind of a slow graveyard recursion. Discard a land card, gain 3 life. Discard a land card, draw a card. Discard a land card. Windgrace becomes indestructible. Tap it. Uh, this could probably see play in standard. And yeah, I mean, he's legendary, so he can probably also go again into a lands matter deck, really. So yeah, this has potential for use. It's really lands matter, and it's in the right colors for it. Next one, Rith Liberated Primeval. Okay, it is the Jund or Cabaretti colors. 5 to cast 5/5 Flying Ward 2. That's already good on its own. Other dragons you control have Ward 2. Excellent protection. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature, planeswalker, and opponent control was dealt excess damage this turn, create a 4/4 red dragon creature. Not bad. It has protection, it helps other dragons. Yeah. The only thing that might really be missing here is that Um, Actually, yeah, no, I think the only thing that might be missing, of course, is like card draw in a way, or that a way to like help deal excess damage because it doesn't really have trample or anything like that. So it's just hoping that somebody will block a 5/5 flyer. So it's pretty good. I would probably get this. John isn't my colors, but it's nice. All right. Shana Purifying Blade. Band colors. I think also Broker. So green, white, blue. Human Warrior, Lifelink 3/3. For three, you're getting three, but it's three colors. They could have helped that a bit more with the power, to be honest. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay X. If you do draw X cards, X can't be greater than the amount of life you gain this turn. Oh, wow. That's really good. It's a potential draw engine, but that encourages you to be aggressive and attacking. Definitely something for more of like an Edric Spy Master build around, maybe. She's not flying, she doesn't have evasion, so this is gonna die really quick. But the fact that you might be able to even just like pay one or two and get a draw out of this is pretty good. Joda the Unifier, the last gold card, all five colors. He's a 5 to cast 5/5. Legendary creatures you control get plus X, where X is the number of legendary creatures you control. It's an anthem for other legends. Holy crap. So on his own, he's a 6/6. Whenever you cast a legendary spell from your hand, exile it, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a legendary non-land card with lesser mana value. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. So it's when you cast a legend, you get to go look for a legendary card, a non-land, and then cast it. That's really good. Um, I can see the snowballing and kind of like really a toolbox build, like the whole Najila or oh no, Captain Sisei. Yeah, that's wow. Okay, that's pretty good for five colors. It's like getting him down for five mana is a little tricky, in my opinion. But a lot of people are going to try to build this. I think it will bring out potentially two legendary creatures per turn, making them bigger and bigger. This is like a weird sliver legendary thing going on here. So wow, that's pretty good. I like Joda. Now, okay, we are hour 34. Wow. It's time to finish the artifacts and maybe get to the lands. Let's see how quick. Okay, yeah, there's only five artifacts. Timeless Lotus, 5 to cast, enters the battlefield tap, but it adds all five colors. So that's pretty good. I mean, you could probably cheat this in for less or even get this down as early as turn one, to be honest, with the mana rocks that you have access to in EDH. I don't know about standard. Well, I don't play standard, so sucks to be you guys. But there's a way to cheat this in really quick, and it's a bomb. What you do with that mana though is dependent, and you're gonna be in a five color deck, so it's really narrow. The golden is that Argosy? Hmm, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but let's just go with it. For the cast 3/6, whenever the Golden Argosy attacks, exile each creature that crewed it, return them to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. That's really good. You can crew it, let's say, with a Dockside Extortionist, and then it's just gonna come back in. So there was actually a recent card that they created in Capenna, which I think is like a limousine that does this kind of effect too, but that was like a 4/3, which means it can die in combat really quick. This one's a 3/6, and that has a lot of potential. I like this. It's kind of pricey though for the cast, so you have to have some really good like enter the battlefield effects. All right. Let's see. Actually, you can even use this as protection. But, well, it has to be an attack. So yeah, it has to be your turn. Karn Living Legacy, 4 to cast for loyalty. Okay. +1, create a tap Power Stone. It's an artifact that adds colorless. Can only be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Okay. -1, put any amount of mana. Pay any amount. Look at that many cards on the top of your library, then put one of those cards into your hand and the rest to the bottom. All right, and then -7, you get an emblem. Tap on untap artifact you control. This emblem deals 1 damage to any target. This is not good. I don't like this. None of its abilities protect itself. So I don't see how this is going to stay alive in any other format other than maybe Commander, that you can lock down the board with lots of like stacks pieces and such, and then essentially make your artifacts into guns. There's already an enchantment that does that, the Garifur Aider Grid. I would rather use that. It only costs 3 as well, and it works immediately. So this isn't the best version of Karn, to be honest. I mean, I am open to being corrected, but I don't like it. Karn Silex, 3 to cast artifact, comes into play tapped, legendary. Okay. Players cannot pay life to cast spells or to activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. So, it shuts down like fetch lands and stuff. Okay. Can't pay life to cast spells. Oh, wow. So this can even take out Force of Will. Not bad. Okay, pay X and tap exile Carl Silex. Destroy each non-land permanent with value X or less. Activate only as a sorcery. So it has a board wipe effect, and it also has like a spell stifling effect in that people can't pay life to activate abilities or cast spells. Wow, that's kind of painful for certain builds because it comes into play tapped. Okay, that's fine, but so while waiting for that round, it just shuts down a lot of activated stuff that might require life. Okay, last artifact, the Weatherlight Completed. It is a 2 to cast 5/5 vehicle. That's weird. It's a vehicle that doesn't have crew. So it's flying as long as Weatherlight Completed has 4 or more Phyresis counters. But okay, what is a Phyresis counter? Okay, it's a Phyrexian creature. Oh, okay, so you don't crew it. It eventually becomes a creature. Okay. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a Phyresis counter on Weatherlight Completed. Then draw a card if it has 7 or more Phyresis counters. Hmm. 2 to cast. Okay, that's actually this is something that you would have in play in anticipation of a board wipe. As soon as all of your creatures die, it becomes a bunch of tokens on the Weatherlight, and then it suddenly becomes a 5/5 flyer, which could essentially start drawing you cards later on. But in the meantime, you get to scry whenever a creature dies. So there is that. I like it. That's actually an interesting recovery tool as well. Now, as for the lands, these are all reprints of like dual color stuff. We can kind of skip that. The one that I wanted to go through here and really like highlight is these last 2 cards. The first one, and actually this is interesting that you have one, two, three, four, five, six. You have 6 of the pain lands. I don't know why I didn't go with the full set here, which is weird. Plaza of Heroes makes colorless. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this only to cast legendary spells. It's perfect for commander because you're always going to have 1 legendary in your command zone. Add 1 mana of any color among legendary permanents you control. So it can help you to cast legendary spells, or it can use your legendary spells as sort of like color identity. And then the last bit is Exile Plaza of Heroes with 3 colorless. Target legendary creature gains hexproof and indestructible. So it it's like a mana filter that even has potential protection. I want this card. I'm going to actually get multiple copies. This belongs in almost every one of my dual color commander decks. Actually, it can even go into a monocolor because it has the way of protecting itself. Oh well, protecting your commander, I mean. Last one is the Thran Portal. It's a gate, which is I've seen this already earlier, like I think earlier this week with some of my friends. But it comes into enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. So it's a great early card. When it comes into the battlefield, choose a basic land type, it basically counts as that land type, so it can become a forest gate. Mana abilities of the Tran portal cost an additional one life to activate. So it's like a City of Brass or a mana confluence. You pay life and it makes mana. But it kind of sucks because you only get to choose one land type. So I don't really think it's worth it. It helps the gate count, it helps your land type count if that matters. But there are, I would rather just play these. These make two colors and take a damage. So at least there's no risk of it coming into play tapped or anything like that. So it's actually pretty crappy. So I wouldn't recommend getting the Thran portal. And there, that's pretty much all 85 rares and mythics from Dominaria United. We went way over time today, so I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. Thank you for those of you who stuck around till the end of the stream. Till the next episode, you guys keep gaming.